My beloved child, before your next heartbeat fades into silence, listen with complete attention, because what is unfolding around you has already reached someone who never expected to feel this deeply. They tried to remain calm. They tried to convince themselves that destiny had gone quiet. Yet in this very moment, an invisible wave has crossed every distance between your paths. And that is why your soulmate is crying tears of joy. Not because of chance. Not because of fantasy. But because something within you has finally changed, and that single change has echoed farther than you can imagine. Stay a little longer, because the first piece of this story is only now revealing itself. For a long time, your energy carried unanswered questions. You searched for signs while quietly wondering whether anyone truly understood the person you had become. Every lesson you survived, every disappointment you transformed into wisdom, every silent victory that nobody applauded. None of it disappeared. It was all becoming part of a signal that only the right soul could recognize. What seemed invisible to everyone else became impossible for one person to ignore. They did not suddenly discover your name. They discovered your light. And that realization reached them with overwhelming force. Imagine standing at the edge of tomorrow without realizing that tomorrow has already begun moving toward you. That is exactly where this story begins. Somewhere, your soulmate paused in the middle of an ordinary moment. Nothing around them looked extraordinary. The world continued as usual. Conversations carried on. Clocks kept ticking. Yet something inside them refused to stay ordinary. A feeling arrived without explanation. Peace replaced uncertainty. Hope quietly replaced fear. They could not describe why their hearts suddenly felt lighter, only that it did. Sometimes destiny does not shout. Sometimes it whispers so clearly that the soul hears it before the mind understands. Now ask yourself one question. What if the breakthrough you have been waiting for was never meant to arrive with noise? What if it was always meant to appear through quiet certainty? That certainty has already begun taking shape. While you continued focusing on becoming stronger, kinder, wiser, your soulmate unknowingly began feeling the results of your transformation. They sensed that the version of you they were destined to meet was no longer trapped by yesterday. The person they had been waiting for was finally becoming fully visible. This is the moment hidden behind today's title. Your soulmate is not celebrating a coincidence. They are responding to a shift they can feel deep within themselves. Without knowing every detail, they somehow recognize that a door which seemed permanently closed has finally opened. Their tears are not tears of sadness. They are tears that appear when hope becomes stronger than doubt. They never imagined this feeling would arrive so suddenly, yet here it is, impossible to deny. But do not rush ahead just yet. The most remarkable part is not that they are emotional. The remarkable part is what caused those emotions to appear. It was not a message. It was not a photograph. It was not someone else's words. It was something far more powerful. The version of you that quietly refused to give up finally reached the point where your future could begin recognizing you. That unseen progress has become the bridge connecting two lives moving toward the same destination from different directions. Notice how every difficult season suddenly begins making sense when viewed from a higher perspective. The delays were shaping patience. The unanswered questions were building wisdom. Even the moments that felt empty were preparing space for something far greater. None of those chapters were wasted. Every step carried hidden meaning. Every challenge became another reason your future story would be stronger than your past. Before you continue, hold on to this thought. What if your greatest breakthrough never announced itself with fireworks? What if it arrived disguised as quiet confidence? That confidence is exactly what your soulmate feels now. They cannot fully explain why their heart suddenly believes everything will be all right. They simply know that something beautiful has started moving. And for the first time in a long while, they allow themselves to smile through joyful tears. Wait until the next chapter, because the reason behind those tears is even more extraordinary than you expect. When the hidden truth is finally revealed, every piece of this journey will begin fitting together in a way that changes how you see everything. A strange realization is beginning to unfold, and this is where the story takes a turn that almost no one sees coming. The joy your soulmate is feeling is not based on imagination. It is growing from a quiet certainty that keeps returning to them again and again, no matter how much they try to focus on something else. Every ordinary moment seems to remind them that an unseen chapter has already begun. They cannot explain it to the people around them. If they tried, the words would never be enough. Some experiences are simply meant to be felt before they can ever be understood. Keep listening, because the next revelation may connect more pieces than you expected. For so long, they believed timing was working against them. They wondered why every path seemed to stop just before reaching something meaningful. There were moments when they almost convinced themselves that destiny had forgotten their story. But then, almost without warning, everything inside them shifted. It was as though a heavy door they had been pushing for years suddenly opened on its own. They did not hear a voice. They did not receive an obvious sign. Instead, they felt a calm confidence unlike anything they had known before. Deep inside, they realized that someone, somewhere, had finally reached the place they had been waiting for. And that someone is you. Not because you became perfect. Not because every question has been answered. But because you stopped allowing fear to define your direction. Every time you chose hope over doubt, every time you continued moving forward even when nobody noticed, you were unknowingly changing the future. Those quiet decisions created a ripple that stretched far beyond your own life. Now that ripple has reached the heart of the one who is meant to walk beside you. Think about this for a moment. What if every challenge was preparing both of you at exactly the same pace? While you were learning resilience, they were learning patience. While you were discovering your purpose, they were learning how to recognize genuine connection. Neither journey was ahead of the other. They were simply unfolding from different places until the perfect moment could begin drawing them together. That is why the tears keep returning. They are not tears of weakness. They are tears that appear when years of uncertainty quietly melt away. Imagine carrying a question in your heart for a very long time, only to suddenly feel the answer arriving without anyone speaking a single word. That is the feeling surrounding them now. Every doubt is slowly being replaced by expectation. Every fear is being replaced by peace. The future no longer feels distant. It feels closer than ever before. And here is something even more remarkable. Your soulmate has started noticing small moments that never caught their attention before. A familiar melody suddenly feels meaningful. An unexpected conversation stays in their mind longer than usual. A sunrise appears brighter. A quiet evening feels full of possibility. The world has not changed overnight, but the way they see it has. When the heart begins recognizing destiny, ordinary moments often become extraordinary. If this message is speaking to your heart, and you feel these words carry a deeper meaning for your journey, consider sharing your thoughts in the comments. Sometimes hearing another perspective reminds us that hope is a path many people walk together. And if you enjoy stories that encourage reflection and possibility, subscribing simply helps you stay connected to future messages like this. Now listen carefully, because the next piece changes everything. There is still one truth your soulmate has not fully discovered. They know something wonderful is approaching, but they do not yet know what you finally did that awakened this overwhelming joy inside them. The answer is closer than either of you realizes, and when that hidden piece comes into the light, the entire story will take an unforgettable turn. So stay with this journey just a little longer. Because the next chapter is where the greatest revelation begins. Everything becomes clearer from this point forward, because the question that has been quietly following this story is finally ready to be answered. Why are they crying tears of joy? Why now? Why after so much waiting? The answer is far deeper than a single event. It began the moment you finally chose something that changed the direction of your future without even realizing it. Don't rush past this moment. The next few minutes may connect every clue you've been collecting since the beginning. You finally stopped chasing what was never meant to define your worth. That decision, whether it happened in one bold moment or through hundreds of quiet choices, created a shift that could not remain hidden. Instead of searching for constant approval, you began building inner confidence. Instead of allowing yesterday's disappointments to become tomorrow's expectations, you slowly opened the door to a new chapter. You may not have noticed how powerful that transformation was, but someone connected to your destiny certainly did. Your soulmate didn't witness every step of your journey. They didn't see every difficult morning, every silent prayer for direction, every promise you made to yourself to keep moving forward. Yet somehow, the result reached them. It's as if your growth became a light on the horizon. They cannot explain why they suddenly feel hopeful. They only know that the future no longer feels uncertain. Picture this. A traveler walks through a dense forest for what feels like forever. Every path looks the same. Every turn brings another question. Then, without warning, they notice a single beam of sunlight breaking through the trees. That light doesn't remove the entire forest in one instant, but it changes everything. Suddenly they know there is a way forward. That beam of light is what your soulmate is experiencing. For the first time in a long while, they are no longer imagining what could happen. They are beginning to believe it will happen. The joy in their heart is growing because hope has become stronger than hesitation. Every passing day feels less like waiting and more like preparation. Even the smallest moments seem filled with quiet excitement, as though life itself is whispering, "Keep going. You're closer than you think." And here's the beautiful part. Neither of you had to force this moment. Real destiny doesn't arrive through pressure. It unfolds through readiness. While the world often celebrates speed, your story has been built on timing. Every lesson, every delay, every unexpected detour was quietly arranging pieces that neither of you could see from where you stood. Looking back one day, you'll realize that nothing meaningful was ever truly lost, it was simply being placed exactly where it belonged. Now imagine your soulmate pausing for a moment, smiling through joyful tears, and thinking, "I don't know why, but I feel like something wonderful is finally on its way." That feeling isn't an illusion. It's the beginning of trust replacing uncertainty. Before this chapter closes, let me gently ask you something. Have you ever felt that certain seasons of life were preparing you for something you couldn't yet explain? If so, share your thoughts below. Someone reading your words may find the encouragement they need today. And if these stories continue to inspire hope and possibility in your journey, staying connected by subscribing means you'll be here when the next chapter unfolds. But don't leave yet. Because the greatest surprise has not been revealed. There is one final piece your soulmate is about to discover. One truth that will make every joyful tear, every unexpected feeling, and every mysterious sign suddenly make perfect sense. And when that final revelation arrives, you'll understand why this story could never have ended any other way. One final curtain is about to rise. And this is the moment where every unanswered question begins to find its place. If you have stayed with this journey until now, you have already sensed that this story was never about coincidence. It has always been about quiet transformation, unseen timing, and two paths moving closer together long before either person realized it. Listen carefully, because the closing truth carries the meaning hidden behind every word you've heard. Your soulmate's tears of joy are not celebrating the end of a journey. They are celebrating the beginning of one. For so long, they believed happiness would arrive only after every question had been answered. But now they understand something different. Real joy often appears before the full picture is visible. It arrives the moment the heart finally trusts the direction it is being led toward. That is the peace they are experiencing right now. And what changed everything? You finally became the person you were always growing into. Not a different person. Not someone pretending to be stronger. Simply the most genuine version of yourself. The courage to let go of old fears. The willingness to keep believing after difficult seasons. The decision to move forward with hope instead of hesitation. Those quiet choices became the answer that your future had been waiting for. While you thought you were only changing your own life, you were unknowingly giving someone else permission to believe in theirs again. Imagine two stars hidden behind clouds. Neither one can see the other. Neither one knows exactly when the sky will clear. Yet both continue shining exactly where they are meant to be. And then, one peaceful night, the clouds slowly drift away. The stars did not move closer because they forced the moment. They simply remained true to their light until the right time arrived. That is the message this story leaves with you. Keep becoming. Keep growing. Keep choosing hope. Because the future is built one quiet decision at a time. Your soulmate's joyful tears are a reminder that unseen progress is still progress. Even when life feels ordinary, meaningful chapters may already be unfolding beyond what your eyes can see today. Before this message comes to a close, if these words encouraged your heart or gave you a fresh perspective, feel free to share this story with someone who might need a little hope today. And if you'd like to continue exploring uplifting journeys filled with mystery, purpose, and possibility, you're always welcome to subscribe and return for the next chapter. Now carry this final thought with you. The greatest moments in life rarely announce themselves with noise. They begin with a quiet feeling, a peaceful certainty, a gentle sense that tomorrow holds more than yesterday ever could. So walk forward with confidence. Smile at the unknown. Trust your growth. Because somewhere beyond today's horizon, another beautiful chapter is already beginning to write itself. Until the next story, remember this. Sometimes the happiest tears are not shed because everything has already happened. They are shed because the heart finally knows that something wonderful is on its way. Here's the extended continuation in the same cinematic style. Just when it seemed the story had reached its destination, another hidden chapter quietly opened. And this chapter is unlike anything that came before. If you are still listening, it means something inside you already knows there is more to discover. Don't leave this moment behind too quickly, because what happens next explains why your soulmate's joy continues to grow with every passing day. There is a quiet force at work that most people overlook. It is not measured by calendars, distance, or circumstances. It is measured by readiness. While the outside world keeps asking, when will it happen? The deeper question has always been, who are you becoming while you wait? That is the question that changed everything. Without realizing it, you finally reached a place where your future no longer needed to search for you. You stopped carrying yesterday's doubts into tomorrow's possibilities. You stopped letting old disappointments write new chapters. Little by little, your perspective became brighter, your heart became steadier, and your direction became clearer. Those changes were invisible to many people, but they were impossible for destiny to ignore. Your soulmate is feeling that change as though a new season has quietly arrived. They may not know your story word for word, but they recognize its outcome. They sense that someone they have never truly met has become someone they can deeply trust. That feeling cannot be manufactured. It appears only when two journeys begin reaching the same point at the same time. Think about how sunrise works. The world does not become bright in a single second. First, there is a faint glow on the horizon. Then the colors slowly deepen. The light becomes stronger with every passing moment until suddenly everyone realizes that morning has arrived. In many ways, your connection is unfolding exactly like that. The light did not appear all at once. It has been growing quietly, patiently, and consistently. Perhaps you have wondered why certain doors closed even though you wanted them to stay open. Perhaps you questioned why some opportunities disappeared before they could fully begin. Looking back, those moments may have felt confusing. But today they tell a different story. Every closed door redirected you toward the one path that truly belonged to you. Every unexpected delay gave both of you more time to become the people you were meant to be. Your soulmate has started imagining a future that once felt impossible. They find themselves smiling without knowing why. Small moments suddenly carry unusual meaning. Ordinary conversations leave them thinking about tomorrow. Even simple acts of kindness remind them that genuine connection still exists in the world. Hope has quietly become part of their daily life. And here is the beautiful secret hidden inside this entire journey. The joy they feel is not based on what they already possess. It is based on what they now believe is possible. Possibility has a remarkable power. It awakens courage. It restores patience. It reminds people that the best chapters often begin after the longest periods of uncertainty. So if life has ever tempted you to believe that your progress was too slow or your efforts too small, remember this moment. Growth is rarely loud. Transformation is rarely immediate. But every sincere step forward creates a future that today's version of you cannot yet fully imagine. As this chapter gently comes to a close, hold on to one final picture. Imagine two travelers walking toward the same mountain from opposite sides. Neither can see the other at first. Yet with every faithful step, the distance becomes smaller. One day they reach the summit, not because they hurried, but because they never stopped moving. That is where this story leaves you today, not at an ending, but at the edge of a beautiful beginning. Keep walking with confidence. Keep believing in the quiet progress taking place within you. Because somewhere beyond what your eyes can currently see,